Chat, we all know the drill with Am I the Arsehole. We're gonna read through all of these Am I the Arseholes, and we're going to decide if they're the arsehole or not. If they're the arsehole, well then GG's. If they're not, well then GG's. Am I the arsehole for not going to my sister's ready? This looks juicy. This also looks very... Okay, it's not that long. Alright. Let's get into this Am I the Arsehole. I, 29M, am in a bit of a pickle. I need some unbiased opinions. My sister, 27F, is getting married next month, and it's supposed to be a joyous occasion. Okay? However, there's some serious family drama that's making things complicated. To give some context, my family has always been always had a strained relationship with my wife, 30F. They never really approve of her, and they have countless passive-aggressive comments and cold shoulders over the years. My wife has tried the best to be polite and cordial, but it takes a toll on her. Recently, my parents went to a step further and openly criticized my wife during a family gather, blaming her for driving a wedge between me and them. This led to a huge argument and offended my wife, which only escalated the situation. My sister was present, and I didn't intervene or support us, which hurt even more. Now with the wedding approaching, my wife feels extremely uncomfortable attending, and honestly, I don't blame her. She's treated poorly for years, and the last incident was the last straw. I told my sister that if my wife isn't welcome, I won't attend the wedding. Either she's upset and claims I'm unresponsible and ruining her big day, and I also for not deciding not to attend my sister's wedding to support my wife. I love my sister, but I feel like my loyalty should lie with my wife, especially given the circumstances. I do not think you're the asshole in the situation. No cap, no kizzy, not the asshole. Next one. We're just gonna scroll. We're gonna see. Am I the asshole reminding my siblings to check the weather twice before you leave for a trip? What? Recently, I proposed a group trip with my sibling Sib and the spouse, my sibling-in-law Sil, and we got together to make plans. The destination was one only I'd been to before, not Sib or Sil, and it's a very different climate for us from us. So I mentioned part of the initial plan that we should make sure we're prepared for extreme and unpredictable weather. Fast forward a few months to a couple of weeks out of the trip, about when we started thinking about packing, I sent one more reminder to the group chat requesting that when it came back time to speak, we all check the forecast and pack accordingly. I did this mostly because one, when I last visited, I'd been underprepared for the weather and got caught in a torrential downpour, which was very unfun and didn't want to repeat that experience. And two, Sil had previously said they'd never check the weather at the time. Sil told me they appreciated it. I was looking out for them. Ultimately, Sim and Sil cancelled about a week before the trip on the basis that they found out they couldn't afford it, so I ended up going by myself. The situation came up later in a setting with a professional, except with this time Sil expressed that my second reminder to check the weather had deeply insulted them and made them feel unintelligent. What? As part of the conversation, I brought up my points 1 and 2 above, and also that I had known I had offended them. If I had known I had offended them, I reminded them more gently, but their comment about appreciating led me to think it was okay, so I was feeling a bit lost to what I should have done differently. The professional acknowledged that Sil had probably jumped to a conclusion in assigning negative intent, but also that going forward they would help us clearer expectations regarding communication to accommodate for stuff like this, unintentionally offending one another. I agreed, especially since our group had run into a lot of communication issues in the past and we struggled to work out ourselves. Sim and Sil seemed on board at the time, but soon afterwards cancelled all of our future group sessions on the basis that they felt that they were unproductive. Brother damn. Afterwards, Sib claimed that they had problems with calling Sil unintelligent. I said I never wanted to insinuate that Sil was unintelligent. That would be to change my behavior accordingly. If they could clarify how I would avoid that, since I wasn't clear on the connection between checking the forecast and intelligence. And as someone unintelligent because of something I said distinct of me directly calling them unintelligent to their face, Sib disagreed, accused me of gaslighting. Please discuss the further issues. Am I also potentially downplaying Sil's feelings in the same way of wanting us to be prepared for a trip? You sound sort of bossy. Alright, personally, I don't think not the asshole. I think that's just checking them out, and I feel like there's just a lot of communication areas. There's a lot you can do about communication. I'm not gonna lie, communication is key. You feel me? Am I the asshole for being the reason my coworker had a bad day? Probably. Probably, because in a sentence you just make yourself sound like the bad guy. I want to start by changing a few things that what we sell in the name, so I won't be identified, but I will keep the story the same. I, 18F, work in a warehouse factory making brownies. W. Are the laziest co-workers known to mankind. I usually don't mind them because I'm trying to move up or move on to a different position away from them. Today was no different for them. We have a position that requires 4 workers, packer 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 being responsible for everything else that the other 3 doesn't pick up, I guess. Guess who was packer 4? Yep, me. They sent me so many brownies. I was solely the reason our percentages were going up. They were laughing and talking. Percentage going up. They were laughing and talking, and I was in the back, seething, biting my tongue. I was talking. I was going to walk out, but I had a plan. I was going to act just like them. Packer 3 was now Packer 4. I decided I was going to pick up brownies so slow she'd feel exactly how I felt. It took all of 5 minutes for her to start complaining how I was barely packing. She yelled at me to pick up the pace, but I didn't. Instead, I smiled at her and continued to pack at the same speed. She yelled at her friends who at this point had switched spots. She told them I wasn't packing and I was being lazy. Immediately stopped the little packing that they were doing and started cursing at me, calling me B words and lazy. I laughed at them and said I was packing like them. I didn't pick up the pace, and even the brownies started falling everywhere because that's what they did to me. Except they didn't fall when I was there because I actually moved fast. Now Packer 4 stopped packing and started puffing her cheeks and waddling around, calling me fat. I laughed because I know I'm fat. I know I'm fat and never thought I was skinny. At this point, I stopped packing altogether and went to go get water. Took my time. When I came back, there were brownies everywhere. I couldn't help but start laughing. Boy, was the wrong thing to do because I got cursed out again. I continued to pack, not picking up the pace. Eventually, our shift leader switched with her and I started packing my fast, normal pace. They started moaning and complaining about how I was just moving so slow and how I'm moving fast because the team leader's there. I ignored and kept working. As soon as Packer 4 came back, I immediately started working slow. Eventually, the day ended and I left happy and she was upset. I just want to know I'm the arsehole because maybe 2 wrongs didn't make a right, but only I've worked hard 3 months, but they've. Oh yeah, I think both of you are the assholes in this situation, personally. I understand it. I feel like your coworkers went a bit far calling you fat and cursing you out and calling you a bitch. But you know what? That's how the workplace is, I guess. I wouldn't really know because where I work currently, I don't talk to anyone. I just sit down and chill and pack up boxes. Personally, I think both are the asshole in the situation. Personally, person speaking is less of the asshole because they were doing their job. They were doing the job just slowly. Alright, next one. Am I there also for bailing on a destination wedding after RSVPing? Yes. And the top it says also at the bottom. So I agreed to go to a friend's destination wedding because I had a free flight. So I RSVP'd, yes, a few months ago and booked a room with other guests on the wedding block on the hotel. There's a wedding in the Caribbean, so all guests have to stay in the hotel. The wedding is coming up in April, so I went to book my flight and turns out my credit had expired. Since I was about to credit, the flight is over $700. Damn. I decided it was out of my budget. I told the friends to take me off the room. I was meaning to tell the bride and groom, but I've been busy, so I haven't gotten around to it. Before I had put the time, texted in myself. The bride noticed and texted me pissed, saying her account was off, and she didn't know why I had cancelled my spot without telling them. She said my hotel already closed her RSVP, and she already bought party favors and did her seating chart, assuming I was coming. I just don't think I'm obligated to go if I don't want to pay so much to a flight and feel this is a perfect acceptable reason to bail since it's a destination wedding. So am I else for not going to this wedding? Personally, I think yeah. What's Reddit saying? Yeah. Okay. That sums up what I was thinking. So you told your friends that you weren't going, but you didn't tell the bride and groom because you got busy. But you were, you know, you got, but you. Personally, when I feel like you say that you're busy to do something, you're not normally busy to do something. You just don't want to do it. So I think this guy's the asshole. Am I the asshole for leaving my friend's GC after they excluded me? Huh? I-14F had a friend group who plays games together. I noticed 3 of them had only been playing together. Let's call them Ashley 15F, Mary 15F, and Kate 15F. I DM'd the one I consider my best friend Kate. I said, whatever secret little GC you guys have, I want in. And Kate responded, how did you know? Because of this. I assumed it was alright to call it a secret. Just a while later, I noticed the 3 friends playing a game, so I joined them. We were talking. I kept calling their GC secret, not knowing it would upset them. I asked why they made a new GC if there was already an existing GC that was the same people plus me. Mary said that there wasn't a GC like that, so I went out and checked Discord, and lo and behold, there was. I started texting on it, and that's where things went south. I got into an argument over why they had made a secret GC if they already had that one. Kate claimed that it was because it wasn't made for gaming, which I find to sound extremely, which I find to find, which I find, which I find to find, which I find to find, brother damn, which I find to sound, there we go, extremely made up. Mary was, of course, backing up Kate. The last straw was when Kate said that they didn't like me calling the secret because calling brother, I'm such a bad reader. Calling me, no, not calling me, calling it a secret because they never tried to exclude anyone, but their plane with just the three of them had been a them thing. Being upset and angry, I left the GC. Not even a few minutes later, Kate asked why I'd left the group, and I was upset. I told her that I was only upset because she called it a them thing when previously it was me, Kate, Ashley thing, as Mary and I hadn't been close until recently, so I might also for leaving my friends GC after excluding me. After they excluded me. I don't think so. I don't know, but I understand brothers want to have like time away from you. Personally, I think it is excluding. So I'm gonna say not the arsehole. I don't think the friends are the arsehole for expecting some space though. You know what I mean? Am I the arsehole for passing out? What the what the a-hole poo mode? So that's the general understanding. For a quick background, in 8th grade, I passed out almost every single day and became a huge obstacle in my life, but I found out it was a problem with my heart, so I started on some new medication. Now onto the story. I-15 FTM. I'm assuming what does FTM stand for? Female to male. Okay. FTM was recently in a high school production of Tuck Everlasting. A few days into rehearsal, I met Taylor, fake name, 16F. She was really nice to me, and we had a lot of time, a lot of the same interests and experiences, as well as the same part on the show too. So we got along really well. One day while we were all rehearsing the dance, we were told to go into our interest positions, which just happened to be downstage right in the wig. So as I stand there, I started feeling lightheaded and turned to my friend to tell her that I was pretty sure I was going to pass out, as I knew her last year and she knew that I knew what to do. I've got on my meds, but before I can, I pass out, narrowly missing the metal bars of the bleachers and the other students. I had never told my director, so she freaked out, but my friend told her about it, and I ended up going to the nurse, and everything was fine. It wasn't until today that I found out that Taylor, who has POTS, had immediately turned to a girl in our show, and told her about how I was so attention seeking for passing out. Basically, cussed me out to her. So I might also, no, you're not the asshole. What the fuck? Cut off Taylor. L. Taylor.